Greetings gamers, my name is Dreadside from Fallen Angels and welcome to another To The Point review. On today's episode, Valorant. Now as usual, I'm going to be giving you some positives, some negatives, and some closing thoughts. But before we start today's video, we publish all kinds of gaming videos on the channel, from gameplays, reviews, news, and even walkthroughs. So if you enjoy any of that, hit that subscribe button, smash that bell icon so you can stay in touch with everything we do. Now without further ado, let's get started. So first things first, if you don't know this already, this is a character-based first-person shooter. Think Counter-Strike and Overwatch had a love child, if that love child was on crack. Now, I've played this game for roughly about 10 games, and in that time I've come to hate it, love it, love it, and then hate it again. All because of that incredibly short time to kill, which can get really frustrating. This is a game of reaction speed rather than figuring out the enemy's weakness and playing to your strengths. But without further ado, let's start with the positives. First of all, the graphics. Now, Riot Games have chosen to go with a more cartoony style graphic, which being Riot Games, you know, especially famous with League of Legends, that is just their style, and I do get it. But it's not my cup of tea. I did like it. It's quite colorful. It's quite sometimes beautiful, especially with the abilities like smoke bombs and the various walls that you can put, and the abilities and the ultimates especially. They obviously put a lot of effort into it, and it really shows. It's just not my cup of tea. Second of all is the characters themselves. They obviously, as I said before, they've obviously put a lot of effort into the characters. They were successful in giving them quite a bit of an identity, that they're not really that bland. I will get to further explaining what I'm talking about right now, but they really stand out, especially at the interactions and the special things that they say to each other. It's quite interesting, and I do like the characters.
Human or not, that Omen can be killed.
Reach! Clear a path. I will keep us safe along the way.
Yo! You can do that too!
Supposed to be fighting back, right?
Two that really stand out to me were Phoenix, who is really cool and has this really interesting way about him, especially when he pops his collar after his ultimate pops, which is really fun. And my absolute favorite, Omen. Now, as you can tell, I am Dreadside. I love, you know, edgelords. It was Reaper back in Overwatch, and now Omen in Valorant. It's just my type of character. Next up is the guns. Now, in this game, you get to choose or more buy the guns that you want with the in-game currency that you start out with, and I think that's especially good compared to like Overwatch, where each character is bound to specific guns. This way you get to change your playstyle without changing your character. I personally liked it very much. I'm not really constrained to a specific type. I can change my playstyle around. And the guns themselves, they really sound good. They're really satisfying. They really feel satisfying when you try to shoot them. They're pretty fun. Next up is the maps. Now there's a good variety of maps here, on 4 or 5 of them. One of them is like a factory style, the other one is more Japanese style, one of them is like Middle Eastern, which adds a bit of variety. Now there is a chance you'll run into the same map once or twice, but odds are you'll play throughout most of them, in a fairly amount of time, because there's a good variety in there. And they're all pretty interesting and designed very well. I should mention that Riot Games should be commended for making 3 games up until now: League of Legends, Legends of Runeterra, and now Valorant, all free-to-play games. Now I do understand that they have cosmetic in-game purchases, but so far that's all that has been, just cosmetic. And in our monetization-heavy games, I do commend them for at least trying to be fair to its players. Now on to the negatives. First of all, this is a this is a multiplayer only game. There is no single player campaign, no story whatsoever. And I know some people are okay with this, but hear me out. Take for example Counter-Strike. It's terrorists versus counter-terrorists. Terrorists are trying to plant a bomb and blow stuff up. counter-terrorists are trying to stop them. Now, Valorant is more or less the same premise. However, when you hear terrorists and counter-terrorists, you immediately understand what is going on. You know, it's a bit close to home, and you kind of understand what is happening. But with Valorant, because they have these characters in all of their interactions in different environments, they lack the contents of what's happening. Now, let's take Overwatch for another example. Overwatch does the same kind of thing, but the difference is they've released cinematic cutscenes which explain the story. They've made an effort to explain the story, and I know sometimes it doesn't make sense why a group called Overwatch, who has to protect humanity, also has to escort a rich asshole through Hollywood, but they try to make some contents for what's going on, and that's something I think that Valorant is a bit lacking in. Lastly, and I've mentioned this before, is the time to kill. Now, this could be good or bad depending on your preference. I personally did not like it. I prefer a more strategic way of fighting than a simple whoever sees the other one first wins. I do understand there is some strategic fighting in Valorant, especially when it comes to knowing where to stand or how to go around the corner, when to, you know, walk without making footsteps or otherwise. But overall, it just boils down to, I want to say, 3 to 4 second combat, which can become really, really frustrating. It can be a real adrenaline rush, but it can also be frustrating. And I would rather not have to go through 10 matches where I'm ready to pull my hair out just to get to that one point where I'm like, holy hell, how did I do that? Overall, the game is good. For a free-to-play game especially, it is really good. It's a lot of fun, and I know that a lot of people enjoy playing it. Just not me personally. I'd rather have a fight where I can discern the other character's weakness and fight him over it in a kind of sometimes a bit of a lengthy back and forth than a match where I basically just a peekaboo free stack. You know what I'm saying? Just basically whoever sees the other one first is gonna win, and I'm just not about that. Anyway, that's been another To The Point review. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to subscribe and smash that bell icon so you can stay in touch with everything we do. Feel free to leave us a comment. We will always respond. Stay in touch with us. We always want to be, you know, in contact with our viewers. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay safe and keep on being awesome.